Peace, 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 peace. Let me get this in right now. I mess it up. 8%. Oh no, I'm doing it right there. It's not 8%. Let's do this real quick. Bam. Peace, peace. Uh, check, 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 check. Check. All right, cool. Cool, there we go. It's the questions, y'all. It's the questions. I want to play this song by Common and Mos Def. I mean Yasin Bey, excuse me, but I don't want the video. Nah, man, we rocking, man. Please don't block the video. Peace to Common, peace to the legendary Yasin Bey, also known as Mos Def. Get a little touch of that. See if we can just get a little touch of that thing, man. Get a little vibe. You know what I mean? It's the questions. It's the questions. It's the questions. Yo, why your girl get giddy when my name come up? How come the industry build careers that don't last? How come niggas don't know but they front and don't ask? Man, I don't know. It's the questions. It's the questions. They say never. You know that ain't right. Cause to say never, you just said never twice. The questions. All right, let me get focused. Let me get focused. Peace, peace, peace. I was just letting some folks come on into the live. We're gonna get started. Let me just share this out here. All right, so 5 questions. 5 questions for the Moors, for Moorish Americans. This is to all sheiks, grand governors, divine ministers, adepts, master teachers, nationals, um, Moorish, quote unquote, sovereigns, if you're out there, um, Moorish Americans, Moorish Muslims, Moorish Asiatics, any sort of, I mean? This is to all of them, all Moors, everybody. Yes. Got 5 questions. Let's get them out there right now. Then we'll get into them a little bit more after I go through them. Question number, and by the way, I'm Rami Salam El. I thank you for watching. Thank you for joining. All right, 5 questions. This is for Moors. How many Moorish Americans are there in the USA, in the United States of America? Question 2. How many Moorish American banks are there in the USA, the United States of America? Question 3. How many Moorish American businesses are there in the United States of America, in the USA? And I'm not saying anybody has to give me an exact, precise number, but an estimate, all right? Just an estimate. Question 4. How many Moorish American farms are there in the United States of America? And question 5. How many Moorish American towns are there in the United States of America? 5 questions. Very simple, very direct questions. I'll read them one more time. Number one, how many Moorish Americans are there in the United States of America? Number two, how many Moorish American banks are there in the United States of America? Number three, how many Moorish American businesses are there in the United States of America? Number four, how many Moorish American farms are there in the United States of America? Number five, how many Moorish American towns are there in the United States of America? These questions go out to all Moors, high and low, east and west, north and south, all the Moorish Americans, anybody in the temple, anybody outside the temple, any grand sheik, grand governor, who I'm a divine minister. Am I missing anything? These questions go out to anybody that identifies themselves as a Moorish American, Moorish. Please, do you have an answer to these questions? You may be saying, some of you may say, well, what does that matter? Why are you asking these questions? What let me let me explain myself. These questions go to us really progressing in a tangible way. It's far too much, and I can speak from this because I've been in the movement. I've been creating more science videos for the past 7, 8 years now, studying about our culture, our history, our organizations, etc. I've taught with Taj Tariq Bey. Oh yes. I've written books. Oh yes. I'm not saying that to brag, but saying that to say I have a valid perspective. I have experience um, in regards to this, and I'm saying there's been too much talking and not enough action. Too many people that are acting like blocks of wood, just pointing the way, saying what people should do. These people need to do this, and this organization, that put all this talking. But when we examine ourselves, when we take a hard, realistic look at ourselves, what do we see? Where is the evidence of our progress since Noble Drew Ali created this movement, the organization, the Moorish Science Temple of America, since he brought us back this information and knowledge about who we are? Where's the tangible proof, man? Let's get real about this. Question one, how many Moorish Americans are there? Let me speak to this personally. I had a conversation with a person I consider my brother, famous, quote unquote famous, worldwide known individual, very influential, blah blah blah. Right? We having a conversation to about 5 in the morning about all of this kinds of information and more science and our history as a people. How do we move forward in a real way? And he asked me this question. He said, "Hey, man, I feel you, but just tell me how many Moorish Americans are there right now?" And don't try to finesse. I try to hit him with the, well, every quote unquote black person is a Moorish American. So how many? However many? You're like, nah, that's not what I'm asking. For real, how many actual Moorish Americans are there? And I couldn't give him an answer. And he wasn't asking to try to sum me or try to it wasn't a gotcha question. It wasn't to try to demean or dismiss this at all. It was an honest, sincere question to understand how many Moorish Americans declared or proclaimed Moorish Americans are there in the United States of America. And I didn't have an answer. And I tried to do the research. What is the number? What is an estimate? I couldn't find it. And I did an intense look into, hey, how do we even figure this out? A census. I've never heard of a Moorish American census going around. But but hey man, maybe I'm ignorant, which is why I'm posing the question. Any Moors out there? Again, how many Moorish Americans are there in the United States of America? A ballpark number. Anyone. And if we're not able to give a simple answer like that, what does that say about us as a nation of people? You feel me? If you wanted to go look up and get an estimate on the number of Chinese Americans in the United States of America, you could. Italian Americans, you could. Everyone else. But what are we doing? What does that say about us and our organization? We can't put that on, that's not on nobody else. That's not anybody else's responsibility. That's on us as a people, right? Appreciate it. I'm gonna get to that right now. Tony Bell, as far as banks, I know of one established by Toriano Abashango L. Also, the bank established by Prince Uriel Bey. Let's get to this one. How many Moorish American banks are there in the United States of America? And let me qualify this. Matter of fact, let me drop the link in there. Let me qualify this so we don't have no excuses. And I'm gonna put the links that I'm talking about in the description after we finish this bill. That was a link to businessinsider.com. 32 black-owned banks and credit unions sorted by state. Okay, black-owned banks and credit unions sorted by the states in the United States of America. This is an article, and it's from August 30th, or updated August 30th, 2021. The reason why I put that on the table for perspective and context, it's a list currently of the quote unquote black owned banks. If if there's if there are people able to put together a list for so-called black-owned banks, what excuse do we have as Moors? Come on now. Somebody feel me out there. We keeping it real, right? Somebody feel me out there. Got a whole list broken down by state. Now I'm posing the question to Moors, Moorish Americans, Moorish American Muslims, all the most well-studied of the Moors out there. Oh, the most knowledgeable. Where you at? Let me know something. How many Moorish American banks are there in the United States of America? Do we have a number? According to Tony Bell, we got two possibles. Let me put some more information in for context, because this is what I just found out today by way of, I found out this by way of this Muslim, this brother from the Nation of Islam. I don't remember the brother's name. I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna shout him out in the comment section when I finish this. But shout out to the brother this with the Nation of Islam. He spoke on this in a video, and I went to do some research about the Freedman's Saving and Trust Bank, or the Freedman's Saving and Trust Company. This was, let me get it right here. Here we go. Jesus. A section of the 13th Amendment originally promised 40 acres and a mule to newly freed quote-unquote slaves. This proposal faced violent backlash from Southerners and their Northern supporters, so it was eliminated from the legislation. Instead, the final bill President Lincoln signed included a provision to establish the Freedman's Savings and Trust Company in New York City in March 1865. quote unquote, Black Americans can open an account for as little as a nickel. Interest was paid on deposits of $1 or more. Listen carefully. More than 100,000 quote unquote Black people became customers. In 1865, there was a quote unquote black owned bank. Well, we're gonna get into the specifics in a second. The Freeman's uh, the Freeman Savings and Trust Company, and 100,000 of our people opened accounts with that bank in 1865. Now, what I later you can learn for yourself and read for yourself to see. Well, let me just highlight. Let me just read the rest of this here. Um, 100,000 Black people became customers. They included Black Union soldiers who earned money in exchange for their military service and Civil War, skilled laborers such as cooks, barbers, seamstresses, and carpenters. And the bank headquarters moved to Washington, D.C. in 1867, and eventually 37 branches were opened across the South. So the bank opened in 1865, and within 2 years, there were 37 branches open within 2 years. And I got to shout out to the people that did the research. Constantine Yanalis, assistant professor of finance at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business, and his partner, Luke C.D. Stein, assistant professor of finance at Babson College. The short-term effects of being properly banked included raised incomes and literacy levels and allowed the formerly enslaved population to accumulate wealth through land ownership. Come on now. Come on now. Now, the unfortunate thing about this history, about this bank in our history, is that 9 years after it opened, the bank was closed. Um, Basically, it was well, I'm gonna even start banking. I'll just read this last little piece. The bank's deposits had been invested into risky, speculative ventures, and the First National Bank had offloaded its liabilities onto Freedmen's bank books with the express consent of an all white, quote unquote, white European, all male board of trustees. The board had modified the bank's original charter, ending the requirement that the deposits be invested only in government backed securities. The board also didn't notify their customers about the revision to the charter. And so, consequently, they lost, the 60,000 depositors lost $3 million in 1867. In today's terms, that would be about $70 million. That's how much money and wealth was accumulated in about 9 years. I bring that up in context, bringing it back forward to right now, today. Again, how many Moorish American banks are there in the United States of America? Don't tell me we can't do it. Don't tell me it can't be done. There's a current list of quote unquote Black owned banks today, listed by state. We were able to create a bank with 37 different branches and accumulate over what today would be $70 million in less than a decade, back in 1865. So, what excuse do we have today, Moorish Americans? Let's keep it real. Um, I appreciate the question, Ab, Abdiel Ben Levy L. I apologize if I didn't pronounce that your name correctly. Um, why does Dr. G block you? We'll get to that question at the end. Appreciate it. Let me just continue. Uh, Number three, we did Moorish Americans, banks, um, businesses. How many Moorish American businesses are there in the United States of America? Legitimate businesses, grocery stores, laundromats, markets, supply store. um, uh, shoes, uh, Moorish sock company, um, Moorish pencils and pens. Uh, um, what are we talking? Moorish plates, dishware companies. How many legitimate businesses are there? Moorish American businesses. Just an estimate. And why am I asking about this? Let me get into that as well. Let me get into that as well to give some context. Let me get into that as well. Get some context. From Noah Ali. We are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from the greatest plight, economic slavery. We believe this can best be done by encouraging, patronizing, and establishing our own business enterprises and cultivating our own acres of land. We'll get to that part in a little bit. Right now, we're speaking about the business enterprises, the businesses. That is how we can free ourselves from our greatest plight, economic slavery. So, again, I pose a question to Moors. How many Moorish American businesses are there in the United States of America? Do we have a directory? Do we have an official list that we can point to and we can go to? Let's be honest, let's be real. And what does that say about ourselves and what we're doing and where our focus is? If we don't have a very general good answer that we can just give to somebody. Yeah, we have approximately 5,000 Moorish American businesses across the United States of America. Here's a link that you can go to, and it breaks down the different whatever state you're in, and you can see the different businesses in that state. And anytime there's a new business, they send their information to our administrator, and they get added to the list. Do we got that going? Why not? We can do it. It ain't like that's something difficult that can't be done. I'm asking these questions to get us to think about our focus and what we're doing, what we're really about right now. Are we really doing what the Prophet Noble Ali laid out for us? Are we really doing what it takes to be a nation? We claim it, we talk the talk, but are we walking the walk? Let's be honest. King Moab, I own an IT support company, Mo. See, we need to know that. Other Moorish Americans, other Moors out there need to know that. Oh man, it's a Moorish brother. He got his own IT support company. Okay, maybe I can do the Moorish app company I've been thinking about. I didn't think it could be done, but look, it's one in the next state over. I'm gonna reach out to him. What are we doing? We got a bill. Just talking about people, just blaming folks, uh, all of the nonsense. But what about the tangible, actual stuff that really matters in the real world? What are we doing in regards to that? Question 4. How many Moorish American farms are there in the United States of America? Well, actually, before I get to the farm, just again, and Islam and everybody watching, peace, peace, peace. Um, Businesses, whatever your business is, I don't want you to feel like if I didn't name your industry or your respective business that it's not I'm not included. Everybody is included. Any business that you see out in the world, not any business. You know what I mean? Because we don't want to do the drug bit. You feel me? But any legitimate business, any legitimate business that you see out in the world, you know what I'm saying? Moore's Pizza Company. We got a Moore's Barbecue. You know what I mean? Hopefully no pork. Do we got Moorish smoothie spot? Do we got um, uh, a Moorish tea house, a Moorish bookstore, a Moorish, um, uh, you name it, whatever, man. You get my point. We need to establish all of these businesses in whatever field. That's why it's so beautiful. Is that you can't feel like you're not qualified. Whatever is your gift, whatever you can do best, we need you. This is a nation of people, right? This isn't some little group thing. And I'm gonna join this group or I'm gonna join that group and then I'll become no, this is a nation of people. We got to think past this generation. We have to think our kids. You feel well, not kids, children. You know what I mean? Anyways, let me move forward. How many Moorish American farms are there in the United States of America? How many Moorish American farms are there in the United? And I lump in the how many Moorish American towns are there. I put them together. How many Moorish American farms and towns? We're gonna deal with both of those. All right. Context. Let me bring in the context again. Noble Ali, he said, we are interested in freeing ourselves and our children from the greatest plight, economic slavery. We believe this can best be done by encouraging, patronizing, and establishing our own business enterprises and cultivating our own acres of land. Cultivating our own acres of land. That goes to ownership, land ownership. I don't even see now we can get into specifics. How many Moorish Americans own land? How many acres? Where is it at? But let's just stick cultivating our own acres of land, farms, and then towns. Well, where is that coming from? Let me put some context on it. Let me put some context on it. Well, if I can find the context on it. There we go. This is coming from the Moorish Guide newspaper in 1929. Okay. We're going to scroll down here. Now, if I can find it. See, doing all that talking. Doing all that talking. There we go. Um, fellow Moors. Fellow Moors. This is in 1929, mind you. I am taking this opportunity to thank those who have answered our advertisement relative to the Moors having their own town, aldermen, police, judges, etc. I didn't even get to the specifics of judges, police, mayors. We didn't even talk about all of that. Aldermen, different elected officials. Put that to the side. Just listen. I'm taking this opportunity to thank those who have answered our advertisement relative to Moors having their own town. In 1929, they were speaking about their own town. Let me continue. The prophet is looking forward to establishing this town in connection with a large farm during the year of 1929. They're talking about establishing a town in connection with a large farm in 1929. So I ask you today in 2021, Moorish Americans, how many Moorish American towns are there in the United States of America? How many Moorish American farms are there in the United States of America? Don't say that's not what we're supposed to be about. Don't say that it can't be done because they was talking about doing it in 1929 before the prophet passed on. What excuses do we have? King Moab, I don't know of any. I don't know of any either. I've never heard of a Moorish American town. If I had heard of one, I'd book the flight on live right now, ASAP. I'm trying to see what it's about. I need that. What's happening? I'm trying to Islam. What's happening? What I need to support. I'm trying to patronize every business in that Moorish American town. But we don't have one. If we being honest, Morris. At least to my knowledge, I haven't heard of any. If there are any out there, Morris, please drop it in the chat. If you're watching this after the live, drop it in the comment section. Email me, iamhhtemple@gmail.com. Call me. I'm just playing. I ain't gonna give you that. But email me, iamhhtemple@gmail.com. If you're watching this after the live and you have information on any of these questions, I'm not asking this. I'm not asking this facetiously or I'm not asking this with ill intention. I'm asking this sincerely to get us to really realize and get our focus and our minds right on what we need to be establishing, what's really important. And this is not Moorish American towns and the focus on businesses and farms. That's not, I'm not just making that up just my own opinion and my own belief. This is what Noble Drew Ali was talking about. We should know how many Moorish Americans there are in the United States. We should at least have an estimate. It, it, I looked up one. Man, I looked up I looked up a number. I don't even have a number, but my point is that there should be a general consensus, a general understanding of how many of Moorish Americans, you know, proclaimed, declared Moorish Americans there are in the United States of America. For all of us to also understand and realize the unity and the strength that can come with the numbers. It's important to understand that we can establish banks, that our people did it in the past. It's not something that we're incapable of. It's impossible. It's not something that we're prohibited from doing right now. The only people stopping us from doing these things, from establishing banks and farms and businesses and towns and schools, the only people that's stopping us from doing that is us. We being real. We being honest. We being truthful with ourselves. All right. Um, yeah, it's been a long time, and we have it's a lack of progress, man. If we being honest, lack of activity, a lot of passive Moors. If we're being honest, um, maximum 1 to 2 acres is more than enough for even a large family to be self-sustaining food-wise in southern states at least. Several of these makes a community, and several of these make a town, etc. Right there, simple building, simple building. Let's buy some acres of. Oh, and thank you for to mentioning that. I wanted to mention. I wanted to big up. I've been seeing this. I've been seeing this around. Boom, boom. Oh, praise Allah, praise Allah. Come on, man. Yeah, and it's a hip hop channel, right? Rapper Young Thug. This is my Bob McNugget. That's my news reporter voice. Rapper Young Thug to build his own city on 100 acres of land in metro Atlanta. Young Thug plans to build his own city in metro Atlanta after being gifted 100 acres of land for his 30th birthday. The artist, whose given name is Jeffrey Williams, was given the land by his manager and his real estate agent, Trey Williams. Mm. Williams, Young Thug, said he plans to build Slime City, which is more like a subdivision than a city. Uh, Young Thug got 100 acres. I believe the rapper Rick Ross has 300 acres. If Young Thug can get on his ownership of land, he can cultivate land. Young Thug can do it. Hey, Moore, what excuse you got? Come on, talk to me, Slime. Oh man. All right, let me close out, man. Um, the question, the other question that I want to answer, and I appreciate the comments. Islam, Lee Bay, Moorish American, Prophet Ali. I brought you everything it takes to save a nation. Love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, Anya Bay, Islam. Did I miss anything else? Motorcycle car repair businesses. Oh, Moorish plumbing, Moorish electric business, Moorish real estate, uh, Moorish beans company. Do we got a Moorish bean company out there? You know what I mean? We got a Moorish paper company. We got a Moorish bottling company. Do we got a Moorish garbage can company? We got uh, you know, more ceramic company. The list goes on and on. Um, but we need them. But let me answer this question just to be direct here. Abdil uh, Abdil Ben Levi L. Why does Dr. G block you? Why does Dr. G block you? I appreciate the question. If you're completely unaware, Dr. G is the host of a YouTube channel called The House of Reawakening Minds. Dr. G blocked me in the chat yesterday. The reason I can't say for certain because I'm not Dr. G. I believe, from my perspective, the reason she blocked me is because the questions I was asking made her uncomfortable. What were the questions? Similar to the questions I asked today. It was asking, did Taj Tariq Bey own any land? It's a simple question. Then I asked, let's take it off of Taj Tariq Bey. I said, does anyone know of any Moorish American farms out there? Or any Moorish Americans that own land? Simple questions. But the questions that I ask, I've come to understand and learn that they can make people uncomfortable when those people or those individuals are afraid of being sincere, afraid of telling the truth. I learned how to ask specific questions, growing up. Um, I learned how to ask specific questions to get, answers. And if I didn't get the answer, it would at least let me know this person was being dishonest, or this person was being trying to be deceptive. This person was not being truthful, completely truthful. You know what I mean? Certain questions that I ask, they force you to just be honest and be transparent, or it reveals, this person is trying to hide something. And so this Dr. G, I believe, blocked me because the questions I was asking were revealing some things. and that was not desired, in my opinion. So Dr. D tried to, but you can't block truth. You know, just was asking some questions. You know what I mean? And you know, the bigger issue, just to put some more context to it, the bigger issue is more about being principled. You know what I mean? It's less about the individual Taj Tariq Bey or um, the Trinidadian in Canada or Jamal and the Rise of the More. It's less about the individuals and it's more about being principled regardless of who it is. You dig what I'm saying? If we're about truth, if we're about being truthful, we can't just be truthful only to with certain people or only in regards to certain things. And then when it gets to certain individuals, like, well, I'm not gonna be completely honest because I like them, or I think they're the master teacher, or I, join their organization or their group, so I got time in with them. It's not about that. It's about being principled. We're not here to worship any man, any human being, any Moorish American out there. That's not what this movement is about. That's not what Moorish Americans are about. Ain't nobody above um, uh, critique. Ain't nobody above criticism. It ain't no Moorish American out here that's above anybody asking them questions. And any Moorish American anymore, anybody that thinks that, understand I'm saying Rami Salam El is saying anybody that thinks they're above questionings from people, I ain't got to answer no questions from. Oh, they got it. Be careful of those people, man. You know what I mean? Especially if they put themselves in positions of leadership. They put themselves in the positions of a leader or the head. Heavy is the head that wears the crown, as they say. You can't put yourself in a leadership position and then not take responsibility and then not be held accountable. It don't work like that. Um, Truth is a bitter pill, man. You real talk, man. And I and let me just be completely transparent. I've dealt with individuals like Dr. G a good portion of my life. I understand now much better than I did when I was younger, but I understand that I can make people uncomfortable sometimes when I stand on certain things and when I speak up about certain things because I'm not finna waver. We gonna get to the truth of the matter, and that makes some people uncomfortable, And I'm striving to make sure that I'm a little more, or I'm more gentle, or I'm more kind about the way I go about things. Um, but just because I'm kind about the way you know, while I'm striving to be kind, doesn't mean I'm soft, or doesn't mean I'm weak, or doesn't mean you you think you could bully me into not speaking up and being and standing on the truth. That's not what's finna happen. We're gonna get to this truth with the love though. You feel me? All right. I don't see any other questions. I hope that answered overstuff. I hope that answered the question though. And for anybody else watching. Um, and just to summarize again, these questions that I asked, you know, they are not they're not designed to try to expose our Moorish movement or expose Moors or to show, look, we ain't doing. It's please look past that feeling or look past that understanding if you feel that way and see that I'm really speaking about where we need to be going. You know what I mean? Where our focus should be. Um, Now more than ever, we need to establish ourselves. We can't just keep talking about who we are. We can't just keep making videos, cycling the same information and trying to prove to people that we are Moors. We know who we are, and other people know who we are. Now we have to be who we are. I hope that makes sense. Because I know that, some people may feel like, dang, Moors ain't really about nothing, man. We ain't done nothing. Um, and to a certain extent, we haven't done what we need to do. We haven't. Um, but the time is now, as Yasin Bey said. The time is now. Um, and we can make it happen. We will make it happen. Manifest that. We will make it happen. Uh, but we have to be active and not passive. Hope that makes sense. Uh, Reach out to her and see if she is willing to build. Um, Here's the last thing. I appreciate that comment. Thank you for that. Reach out to her, to Dr. G, and see if she is willing to build. I'm not, let me say this very clearly up front. I don't have any ill will towards Dr. G or towards the Trinidadian brother in Canada or towards any of the Rise of the Moor militia supporters or any Moorish American or anybody out there. What I am doing now moving forward is being principled. And um, when people do something that's wrong, when people wrong you, um, you know, there needs to be a conversation about that. You know what I mean? It needs to be, we need to be able to hold ourselves accountable and admit, hey, I was incorrect there. I was wrong for that. I apologize. Um, and so when that's able to take place, absolutely, absolutely, definitely willing to build. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense. Um, Anything else? The questions? I mean, I think we done covered it, man. I don't see nothing else in the no, no, nothing else here. Um, I hope to everyone that's watched this has been in some way helpful, informative. Um, I humbly urge you to look into the Freedman's Savings and Trust Company. The history behind that is trippy. I didn't really highlight it too much, but just again to take note that the bank was controlled by the board of trustees, controlled by the board of trustees. And if we bring that on around to the Moorish Science Temple of America, the board of trustees, if you will, for the Moorish Science Temple of America, guess what that would be? Oh, you guessed it. You guessed it, more. That Supreme Grand Council. Oh, he done it again. Rami done it again. He done it again. He brought it back around again. God dang nabbit. We thought we got away from the Supreme Grand Council, but it's back again. Yes, you know it. Yes, you know it. uh, Jokes aside, um, it's important that you understand the history of what happened to our people so that we can move forward. That goes for the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company, for the Moorish Science Temple of America, and for our history as Moors or as so called Black people, Negroes, so called African Americans. Um, we got to know the history, man. It's important. Um, I think that would be very interesting, Ben Leviel. Dr. G, Taharka Bey, and myself as a panel. I think that would be extremely interesting. And who knows? Allah is the best of planner. You know what I mean? Uh, I seen that last one. Let me get out of here. But the council must be set back up. Hey now, you know, just being real with you, man. And it's gonna happen. We gonna get it done. One day it'll all make sense. I brought that back around. If you don't get it, you'll get it one day. Much love to you. Keep shining. Keep being amazing. Stand on them principles: love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But especially that love. We got to have that love, man. If you ain't got that love, man, you know what I mean? You're playing. Uh, love is the key. Love is the way. Much love to you and yours. Let's have a great day. All right. Whoop. Boom.